Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel. I hope that you find my meditations to be edifying and uplifting. And this is where I share my insights. And today I am talking about living the uninhibited life. Imagine that. No more hang-ups. No more fear of failure. No more inhibitions. How do we let that go without reaching for a bottle of tequila? Well, stick around and we'll talk about some important points of living the uninhibited life. Being inhibited is a paralyzing effect of believing you're watched and scrutinized, judged and thought about. It also comes about because you believe you live in a universe that's running out of time, running out of air, running out of supply. And to create this sense of urgency to perform. But you've been on both sides of this before. Everybody wants to be uninhibited. How many people in your circles drink? And if people really drank because they like the taste of beer or they like the taste of wine, and we took away the hallucinatory effects of it, how many people would do it? I think very little people would drink if it weren't for the buzz of being able to feel that sense of ease. But you also have noticed that it is a chemically induced state of inhibition, bordering on obnoxious. And if you've ever been the designated driver, or at a party where everybody's drinking, they are annoying. In much the same way as somebody that's found the effervescent, uninhibited spiritual freedom is annoying. And saying that the wonderful kingdom of heaven, nirvana, the blown out state is available now. See, your average person gets drunk on the weekends to escape from reality. And on Monday morning, they're being watched again. They're back to the grind. And you got people like me who are bubbly and foolish, who look insane. How can you be drunk on life? How can you be so uninhibited? We got to go to work on Monday morning. It's kind of like an insane asylum, where the only crazy person is the doctor. So you got people grinding through the work week so they can kick back and escape their life with a chemical. But what if you didn't need the chemical or a life from which you needed to escape? Then you'd be in the uninhibited state. Most people who are inhibited are at their junior prom And they're standing around the dance floor like this. Awkward. While the rest of the crowd is in the arena sweating and carrying on. They don't give a shit. Music is they've been swept up in the rapture. The music is playing, and as Madonna said, let your body move to the music. They just absolutely let themselves go. And people who let themselves go dance really well because they're completely gone. They're uninhibited. And you can do that without drinking. But it takes usually 3 or 4 drinks before somebody gets on the dance floor, which I think is interesting. Because we don't like to be seen that way. We don't like to be seen as foolish little kids tumbling around. I don't know why, because that's who we really are. And the inhibited individual is afraid to be seen as they really are. And it's not like you can just get up on stage and give a speech without being afraid. You have to practice it. And so I recommend dancing like a fool by yourself and noticing, even by yourself, how inhibited you would be. Or better yet, take off all your clothes and do it. What? Even when you know in the privacy of your own room with the lights off, to put on some Britney Spears and to go apeshit in your birthday suit, you would feel weird. But it would do you a world of good to experiment with that. I may be confessing here, but I do that. I'm not ashamed. But I just noticed my inhibition was in my body. I just felt weird in my body. I felt weird in my home. I felt weird in my work environment. I felt weird in my city. I felt weird in the universe. What is this feeling that I'm being watched? And why is that such a big deal? So an inhibition must be shed. And the only way that I have known to be able to do this is to be able to sit quietly in my own company without feelings like I want to run away from myself. An inhibited person wants to get to the end. They want to get somewhere. The uninhibited person gets places, but as they're swimming along, they splash in the water. They play with the water. And that pisses off all the people who are working. We got to swim. We got to get to the end. We got to cross the river. And then you got the fool who's splashing around in the water, enjoying himself. That's the fool. But the uninhibited person does not fear the traditional rules. They've broken the traditional rules because they march to the beat of their own drummer. Most of the people who experience this blown out state of the uninhibited life, or what the Buddha called the blown out state, or nirvana, or the kingdom of heaven as Jesus called it, have crossed over the one frontier that many people are not willing to visit. The sojourn, the desert, the loneliness, the abandonment, not feeling awkward in private. If you really examine yourself, you feel awkward in private if you are inhibited. Always anxious. Can't ever rest. Not even when you're sleeping. I mean, if sleeping is the only rest you get, and you wake up in the morning and you look at your bed, that looks like a violent mob scene. Covers everywhere, pillows all over. That can't be restful. The only true rest is the abiding in oneself during waking hours. And the restlessness is this pull away. I gotta get there. I gotta go somewhere. It's the constant and incessant story of the future, which is a ghost. It's the constant and obsessive story that people are watching. Gotta put on a show. Somebody's watching me. I've got to keep up appearances. That's what an inhibition is. An acute sense of being judged. And a failure to see you can't go anywhere. You're being pulled into the dance floor by that you're being pulled into the dance floor by that insistent girl that says, "Come on, everybody's having fun." And this is what allows you to do remarkable things. Those in the arena, those on the dance floor, those who've shed this paranoia that Big Brother's watching, Uncle Sam is going to get to me, the mortgage company's going to take my house away, the electric company's going to cut off my electricity, the grocery store will be out of food. And the person who's uninhibited says, okay, that's fine. Whatever. Take it away. I don't have anything. I'm a naked dancing fool. Who cares? It's not mine anyway. I'm just here for the ride. I'm just here for what comes next. And the uninhibited person is so intimately connected with the tiniest fragment of time that they know they are guided and supported by life forces, by the same invisible presence which takes over the body when the music starts pumping. Once the music gets you going, and then once you give way to the music, it's like giving way to the water of life. You can dance, but you have to give in to the music, if you know what I mean. And the only way to dance like nobody's watching is to practice when no one is watching. When no one is watching, if you're not at rest, you're still putting on a show. And you're probably convicted of mind crimes from a God out there that's watching you and listening to you think and pointing his finger and tut-tutting at you for all your little secret fetishes and false promises. And so the inhibited person is constantly looking over their shoulder and back checking and wondering if they turned the stove off when they left the house, or wondering if their butt looks big in those pants. Constantly checking themselves in the mirror and always checking and oh man. Do you know how hard it is to keep up an appearance? Well, finally, the uninhibited person forgets about it. Carrying around a personal history is too heavy. Trying to create a roadmap to the future is too difficult. I can't outsmart myself like that. That's because we're in these lives that we're in. We're in over our heads. And what you think you're building and doing yourself is like a weekend DIY project gone awry. Everything that you worked so hard to do starts coming unraveled. And you're left there like, holy shit, this isn't working. Time to call in the pros. Well, when you get to that point where you've tried to do the plumbing yourself, tried to do the electrical yourself, and you're like, oh, I'm in over my head. That feeling right there when you're about ready to call in a professional to do it right is when you say, fuck it. I'm tired of meddling. Because you realize that meddling in your circumstances is like smoothing out water with a flat iron. The more you mess with it, the worse it gets. The more inhibited you are, the more inhibited everything is. The more stingy, the more protective, the more withdrawn. Everything then reflects that in your circumstances. It's like being confronted by a mad animal. A fearful, roaring lion who's gritting his teeth at you. The more fear that wells up in you, the more fear that wells up in the lion. It swallows you whole. The uninhibited person has learned the inverse relationship of circumstance and being. As the circumstances flare up at you, the uninhibited person dissolves. And in those intimate moments of time, where you're scared out of your gourd, the one thing you are scared of is being scared. That's when the vicious circle stops. When you're scared of being scared. And the only way to dissolve fear is to become dissolved. To become absolved of your personal history. Your whodunit, all your sins, all your past transgressions. You take that baggage, you throw it away, and then you start having fun. And you're the one splashing in the water when everybody else is trying to cross the Red Sea. You're splashing exuberantly, wondering where is everybody going? There's nowhere to get. The golden nugget is right here. The golden goodie is right here, right now, in the savoriness of the present moment, which unfolds so mysteriously. My attempt to make a map to get to my so-called future is the most futile thing I could ever do. Because the map unfolds and I look backwards and think, damn, I could have never predicted that. I can't circumvent surprise. But rather than bracing yourself for the future, why not embrace it? What would that look like? That would look like going to the doctor and hearing every single word that he or she tells you about your terminal diagnosis. It would be sitting there and letting your spouse explain how they've been cheating on you for the last 4 months and not reacting. It would be to get the foreclosure notice, the letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes, and to sit down and realize how helpless you are against that which you are creating. That's when you throw it away and realize how frivolous all this circumstance is. How completely useless it is. And that the only thing that there ever was life pulsing through your veins. And the golden nugget was never about getting there, but about being here. And the uninhibited person comes to the realization that there's no better place to be than where they are now. There's no other place they'd rather be than here. There's no other person they'd rather be than this one. That's when you'll start dancing. There's no more wanting to be somebody different. There's no more wanting to change the circumstance. There's no more needing to improve yourself. There's just giving your way to the music, which is subtly playing in the so-called background. And you can feel it. You can sense it. You can give way to it. And you can step aside. And that's when wild success really begins. And you look foolish. You look like the one who's been drinking on Monday morning. What are you so happy about? You know. But you know what? A lot of things have to crumble and be taken away from you before you realize you never needed it. All you needed was your naked body. Jump in and do it. All you needed was your intelligence. Jump in and do it. All you needed was love. And you already have it. All you needed was money, and you already have it. All you needed was time, and you already have it. All you needed was nothing, and you got plenty of that. And out of thin air, things appear. And people wonder how you can produce miracles like that. You're listening. You've given way to it. You're moving your body to the music, and it is working through you. And the more you practice this, your moves get really good. And the more your moves get good, the more you've moved out of the way. And let this wonderful thing called the invisible forces, the momentum, the spirit, take over. And nobody's watching because there's nobody to see. Nothing to see here, folks. Just a bald guy on the internet dancing to the music without any inhibition. My name is Ryan. I hope that you enjoyed these insights and they have helped you jump on the dance floor. Please check out my blog, mymorningmotivator.com, or one of my books on Amazon. And I appreciate you spending time with me. See you next time.